What happens when a fearless rising contender steps into the circle with a living legend who feeds off pressure, pain, and pure chaos? This was not just another kickboxing bout. This was a collision between ambition and dominance, between youth and experience, between a hungry challenger and an icon known across the world as the Iron Man. From the very first stare down, you could feel it in the air. The crowd in Bangkok was electric, cameras flashing, anticipation boiling over. On one side stood Yu, just 23 years old, representing China, carrying a sharp 40-6 Muay Thai and kickboxing record, a 2-inch height advantage, and the confidence of a man who had just torn through the road to one China tournament with 3 straight victories. On the other side stood Rodtang, 25 years of age, 5-time one flyweight Muay Thai world champion, holding an astonishing 269-42 record, representing Thailand, forged at the legendary Jitmuangnon gym. Nearly identical in weight, only a pound and a half separating them, but in aura, experience, and intimidation the gap felt massive. 3 rounds. Kickboxing rules. No elbows. No strikes to the back of the head or groin. Touch gloves. Let's go. The bell rang, and instantly the difference in energy was clear. Yu tried to circle left, using his reach, flicking out long-range weapons, testing the waters. But Rodtang doesn't test waters, he boils them. From the opening seconds, every step he took was forward. Every movement cut distance. Every punch carried intention. Yu had the reach, but Rodtang had the pressure. The Thai superstar stalked him methodically, backing him toward the circle fence, ripping heavy body shots and chopping kicks into his frame. Yu fired back bravely, landing a head kick that snapped up toward Rodtang's jaw, but instead of retreating, Rodtang smacked himself in the face and gestured for more. That moment told the entire story. This wasn't just skill. This was psychological warfare. Yu attempted to sit down on his punches, landing 2 clean right hands at one point, but every time he planted his feet, Rodtang answered immediately. A crushing right hand dropped Yu, scoring a knockdown that Yu protested, claiming it was a slip. The referee ruled otherwise. Momentum had officially shifted. And when Rodtang senses blood, metaphorically or literally, he turns into something else entirely. He dug to the body with vicious hooks, stepping inside the pocket and trading without fear. Blood began streaming down the right side of Yu's face. It looked dramatic under the lights, but even through the damage Yu kept firing back. That was the heart of a warrior, but heart alone is rarely enough against someone who thrives in chaos. Round 2 intensified. Rodtang began mixing it up, sharp jabs on entry, switching briefly to southpaw, leaning back just enough to evade incoming shots before exploding forward with counters. The precision was frightening. He wasn't just walking forward blindly, he was reading, reacting, punishing. Yu threw combinations, but Rodtang slipped just outside range, leaned back slickly, and re-entered with hooks and straight rights that snapped Yu's head back. The Thai champion's volume was overwhelming. Even when he shelled up, absorbing shots on his guard, he responded with flurries that forced Yu backward again. Every exchange ended with Rodtang advancing. Every movement Yu made was in retreat. By the final 10 seconds of the second round, the narrative was obvious. Yu was tough, determined, and technical, but Rodtang was simply a step ahead in every sequence. Then came the third round, and something fascinating happened. When Rodtang feels invincible, he entertains. He began playing with rhythm, tapping with light jabs, switching stances, landing a clean left hook, then a head kick, then a straight right, all in fluid combinations. He welcomed punches, inviting exchanges just to prove they couldn't hurt him. A short knee slipped in. A slick lean-back evasion drew roars from the crowd. This wasn't recklessness, this was mastery mixed with showmanship. With under a minute left, Rodtang appeared to ease slightly off the gas, not because he was tired, but because he knew he was in complete control. Yu, to his credit, continued pressing forward, trading in the pocket despite the blood and the knockdown. That mutual respect became clear in the final seconds as both men stood their ground and exchanged until the bell. When the clock hit 0, there was no confusion about what had happened. Rodtang had walked Yu down from the opening seconds, cut off the ring, controlled the tempo, scored the knockdown, and outlanded him in every meaningful exchange. Yu showed heart, grit, and flashes of brilliance. But against a fighter of this caliber, flashes aren't enough. The judges confirmed what everyone inside the arena already knew. Unanimous decision victory for Rodtang. The Iron Man had done it again. But beyond the scorecards, this fight told a deeper story. It showed the brutal gap between a talented contender and a generational force. It showcased the evolution of Rodtang, not just as a pressure machine, but as a tactician capable of switching stances, controlling distance, and turning defense into entertainment. It showed Yu's courage, standing in the pocket, firing back despite adversity, refusing to fold under pressure. And most importantly, it reminded the world why combat sports captivate us. Skill, heart, drama, blood, respect. All inside 9 minutes of controlled chaos. If you felt that intensity, if you respect warriors who leave everything inside the circle, if you love elite-level striking at its finest, then make sure you support the sport and never miss moments like this. Like this content if you enjoyed the breakdown, subscribe for more high-level fight analysis and epic battle recaps, and drop a comment telling us, who can truly stop the Iron Man at flyweight? Because right now, Rodtang isn't just winning fights, he's making statements. And the rest of the division has been officially warned. But the story doesn't end with the announcement of a unanimous decision. In many ways, that was only the beginning of the conversation. Because when a fighter like Rodtang delivers a performance like this, it sends shockwaves far beyond one night in Bangkok. It echoes across the entire flyweight division. It forces contenders to rethink their strategies. It makes champions in other disciplines wonder what would happen if they stepped into his world. As the arena lights dimmed slightly and the cameras zoomed in on Rodtang's face, you could see something familiar. Not exhaustion, not relief, but satisfaction. The kind that comes from executing a game plan to perfection. From the opening bell, he had imposed his will. He didn't chase recklessly. He didn't overextend. He cut off angles, walked you down systematically, and punished every hesitation. That's the evolution of a champion. Early in his career, Rodtang was known purely for aggression, a relentless forward march. But now we are witnessing a refined version. A thinking pressure fighter. A tactician wrapped inside a warrior's mentality. For you, this fight was more than a loss. It was a brutal education at the highest level. He entered with momentum, confidence, and a tournament victory behind him. He had height, reach, and youth on his side. And to his credit, he did not crumble. Many fighters freeze under Rodtang's pressure. Many retreat and survive. You stood and traded. He fired back combinations. He absorbed punishment and continued forward. That alone earns respect. But against elite opposition, courage must be paired with timing, positioning, and composure under fire. Every time you tried to plant his feet and throw with power, Rodtang was already a half beat ahead, slipping, countering, ripping to the body. One of the most telling aspects of the bout was distance management. You wanted range. He needed space to extend his kicks and long punches. Rodtang erased that space repeatedly. Every forward step forced you into reactive movement. And fighting on the back foot against a pressure specialist drains not only the legs, it drains the mind. When you're constantly calculating, constantly adjusting, constantly defending, fatigue builds faster. That's championship IQ. Rodtang understands that pressure is not just physical, it's psychological. By the third round, when Rodtang began leaning back from punches with effortless head movement and playful confidence, it wasn't arrogance, it was control. He knew the power coming back at him wasn't enough to change the outcome. So he entertained. He switched stances. He peppered jabs. He rolled shoulders. He let the crowd feel the moment. That's what separates stars from fighters. Skill wins bouts. Presence builds legacies. And now the big question rises, what's next? With another dominant performance added to his already staggering record, Rodtang continues to solidify himself as one of the most exciting strikers in the world. The flyweight division is stacked with talent, but beating Rodtang requires more than speed or power. It requires discipline under suffocating pressure. It requires the ability to hurt him, something very few have managed to do convincingly. Until someone proves they can stop his forward momentum, he remains the standard. For you, this setback could become the foundation for growth. At 23 years old, facing a generational champion in only his second appearance on this stage, that experience is priceless. Losses at the highest level often forge stronger contenders. If he studies this fight, tightens his defensive exits, improves his ability to pivot off the fence, and learns to create angles rather than retreat in straight lines, he can absolutely return stronger. The heart is already there. The toughness is proven. Now it becomes about evolution. As the crowd dispersed and highlights replayed across screens worldwide, one thing became undeniable. This wasn't just another win. It was another chapter in the ongoing legend of the Iron Man. A fighter who doesn't just compete, he performs. A champion who doesn't just defend, he dominates. A showman who doesn't just entertain, he commands attention. Moments like this remind us why combat sports are so powerful. Two warriors step into a circle with nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Strategy meets instinct. Preparation meets chaos. And when the dust settles, respect is earned, not given. If you're passionate about elite striking battles like this, stay locked in. More breakdowns, more epic fight stories, more inside analysis are coming your way. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next war inside the circle. And tell us in the comments, who should face Rodtang next? Is there anyone in the division ready to withstand the pressure of the Iron Man? Because one thing is certain, as long as Rodtang keeps stepping forward, the world will keep watching.